In school X, 30 students study English or Russian or both. When we read this question, we can quickly understand that it's a question of overlapping sets in the overlapping sets question, and it's a question of two sets as we can see. The best possible method for answering the questions of two sets is making the grid. So we will make a double matrix, and I'm going to write that some students study Russian, some students do not study Russian, some students study English, and some students do not study English. That's how we form the double matrix at first. And now we read the question and start writing all the information in this grid straight away. Now, 30 students study English or Russian or both. That means study Russian or English or both. If I mark them with A, B, and C, I can see that A plus B plus C is given 30. If 10 of these students do not study English, that means B and C are the students who study English. That means A becomes equal to 10. That means B plus C becomes equal to 30 minus 10, which is 20. Let us write these informations here in the grid. Let's say this is 10 and sum of these two numbers is 20. How many of the students study both English and Russian? So the question is only about B. That means if we could figure out something about C, we can answer the question. Now let's quickly see the first and the second statement. Of the 30 students, 6 do not study Russian. Out of these 30 students that we have here, 6 do not study Russian. So students who do not study Russian will be only these C, because A and B study Russian. So out of these 30, C is equal to 6. And we already know that B plus C is equal to 20. That means B becomes equal to 40, which means this statement is clearly sufficient to answer the question. So out of the 5 choices that we have, A, B, C, D, E, we are left with only 2 choices, which are A and B, because either first alone will be sufficient or each alone will be sufficient. Let's judge the second statement. A total of 24 students study Russian, which means A plus B is equal to 24. And we already know that A is equal to 10. This leaves us with the value of B equals to 24 minus 10, that is 14. And we already know from here that B plus C is equal to 20, which means C is equal to 6. So, although I did not need to do the last calculations, but I did that only to explain one thing. First thing is we can clearly see that this statement also is sufficient, so the answer is clearly option D. But the other thing that I wanted to emphasize on is that whenever the answer comes D option, the first and second statements directly or indirectly point out the same information. So that helps in many other questions where the one statement is easy to interpret but the second statement is difficult to decipher the information from. In those questions, you can always verify this thing that the first statement and the second statement are directly or indirectly going to give you the same information if you're testing for both of them individually to be sufficient. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for watching this video.